So here is my sealed lead acid battery build. This is just the way I connect when I go camping. You can see I've got the wiring for all my 12 volt USB, and then it's built into the top of the box. So I made it to where I can easily connect and disconnect as I work on it. Here you see the temperature lead coming off my CTEK charger. That is always placed by the battery for safety. And here are the internal wiring that I'm using, along with all the connectors. I'm going to be rewiring this in this video. So I'm adding the Anderson plugs, the braided loom, and then I've got a 30 amp circuit breaker just to protect the wiring within the battery. You need to strip the insulation on the jacket of the wire. I use razor knife, and then you can assemble the connector like you see here. It creates a waterproof seal. There is a set screw that you need to adjust. So the easiest way to do this is get an Allen key and then you undo it, and then basically you insert the wire, and then it creates a compression fit. Some people will tin these wires. I do not tin the wires to do this. But essentially you just screw that down till it's nice and tight, check its tension, make sure it's good, and then you can reassemble the housing, which is what completes the waterproof connection. And then I put a little bit of 3M double-sided stick, and then you have a red Anderson going from battery to charger. Here you can see I've got everything wired up, trying to keep the wires from binding. Negative terminal, also it has the smaller Anderson for the power port for the top of the battery. There you can see the other side of the connector. And the circuit breaker has an easy button to flip on and off. I'm reassembling everything at the moment. Make sure that those wires aren't in a bind. And then connect the Anderson. Now have power to the top panel. You can see that it's lit up. And then I'm just going to carefully reassemble everything in the case, making sure I'm not pinching any wires. And then just, add the strap to ensure that the two segments don't disconnect. Then finally, I'm putting in my probe to test to ensure that I am actually getting the voltage. So positive, negative going straight to the battery. That is positive coming from the alternator and the negative coming from the alternator or the body ground. Then you have positive in on the CTEK solar and then negative in on the solar. That's going straight to those small Andersons. That's going straight to the alternator. And then those two are connected to each other. Red will not connect to gray, so it's much safer to have it like this so you can't accidentally flip them. Here you can see at the terminals I'm getting the same voltage, and it's time to set it in the truck. Okay, so connecting the solar. And now I'm connecting the alternator to the vehicle. I need to crank it up real quick. And then you can see that it's receiving both solar and alternator and charging the battery, showing around 14.3 volts, which is exactly what it should be showing when it's charging. And then you can see that connector is hooked up. Simultaneously, that connector is also hooked up. So you don't have to mix and match. You can combine them all and it will solve that for you. There's a quick shot of my panel sitting on the top of the truck. And then finally, I wanted to test to see if whenever I am using the battery, will it charge my cranking battery? So I'm testing that voltage right now, and you can see that it's increasing. And the vehicle at this point is off. So this is not alternator driven or anything. This is straight coming from the panel and the CTEK charger. And you'll notice that once it hits like a high point, it tops off. It settles around 13 13.1, which suggests float voltage. If you have any suggestions, or if you want more detail on my battery build or the solar or any of the wiring, anything, I guess leave a comment and I will read them, and I will try to make something to answer your question if I can. Thank you.